What's up, everybody? My name is Keishay, aka Shay, aka Shake and Bake, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be running down some of my favorite spooky pieces of media. I didn't want to just do movies, so I did some movies, some TV shows. I think I did maybe one anime and a comic book that I always recommend people, whether it's spooky season or not. It is absolutely the middle of October. I think Halloween may be 2 weeks away. And what better way to bring in Halloween than by watching something a little spooky, a little scary. I love being scared, but it's been a long time since I've watched something that genuinely made me scary. So yeah, I'm just gonna give you good movies and TV shows and things that I tend to watch or rewatch during this time. And I hope that you find something out of this list that maybe you haven't seen or maybe you want to revisit for this Halloween. So without further ado, let's get into my first recommendation. Disclaimer, first, I am a horror nerd. It was really hard for me to narrow down the stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I did manage to make the list a little more concise than I thought I was going to be able to. And also, these films are not in any particular order. I'm not going to sit here and be ranking them, but if you want a video of me ranking horror films, I will do that. Comment down below if that's a video that you would like to see. My first movie recommendation is Talk to Me 2022. To start, 2022 was a great year for horror films. I don't know if y'all remember, but it was banger after banger being dropped that year. I was in film school, so I was going to the movies a lot at the time, and it seemed like every little horror film like snippet that I saw, I was like, what is that? Like, that's gonna be good. And Talk to Me was one of those. I remember only seeing a snippet because I had told myself that I wasn't going to be watching trailers anymore, and I saw the snippet for this movie and I was definitely like, let me go ahead and write that on the list of movies that I'm gonna go see this year. Coming in at a smooth 95 minutes. We love a short runtime. Talk to Me is about a girl named Mia and her group of friends as they explore the spirit world by using an embalmed hand as a conduit. And obviously things go terribly. I think by just even talking about the premise, it obviously is a terrible idea. I would never do anything like that. But I do want one of those hands because they were selling them at a point, and it took everything in me not to buy one.
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
Was I gonna try to conjure spirits? No. But did I want one as like decoration in the background?
Well, yes.
This movie explores themes of grief, loneliness, and peer pressure. It is a great watch, a nice quick watch, and the performances from the young Australian cast is really good, especially the main character, Mia. She does a great job at conveying all of the emotions that are needed to portray such a crazy concept like this, and you really do wind up feeling for the girl and her situation that she's in, and all of the characters that get wrapped into this haunting, really bleak movie, but it is really good, and I hope that if you haven't seen it, you give it a watch this Halloween. On to the next one. Next on the list is Train to Busan 2016. Train to Busan is a Korean zombie flick. I'm not a big fan of like the zombie genre, but Train to Busan is a really good outing in this form of horror. It is a little longer than I would prefer. I mean, I feel like it works for that. And I'm gonna keep mentioning runtimes because I love a short runtime. I love movies, so I'm able to sit through, you know, the 2.5 hours, the 2 hours and 45-minute movies, but I would prefer a nice little quick wham bam, give me up out of my seat because I have to pee. Oh. Train to Busan is a Korean zombie flick with an ensemble cast of notable Korean actors, but the main focus is on a businessman and his daughter who catch a train to visit the girl's mom because it's the little girl's birthday. So basically they're on a train and they're taking the train to go visit the girl's mom for her birthday. But while they're on the train, a person who is inflicted by whatever the virus is makes their way onto the train and infects a bunch of people on the train. So now our big cast of characters are now fighting for their lives as the conductor tries to get them to Busan, which is the only safe haven in Korea at the moment. This film is action-packed, it's emotional, it has great acting performances, it doesn't even feel like 2 hours in my opinion. It's very fast-paced, the action keeps you engaged, you never know what's gonna happen next. The action sequences are really good for a zombie movie, I think. I think that zombie movies don't get a lot of credit for their acting performances. That's why I brought it up, because people just think of zombie flicks as just like quick little things and they, you know, don't really pay them any mind. But I do think that Train to Busan is a bit different. I think that this is one of those films that was snubbed by the Oscars. Ooh, I do think that it was snubbed by the Oscars. I do think that the main character, the main actor, I forget his name, I'll put it up here, but I do think that he should have got a nom. I've seen this film so many times, and every time I find myself fighting back tears at the end. That ending sequence, if you know, you know. I don't want to spoil it, but it is a very bittersweet movie, and the ending definitely will have you, you know, choking back some tears. I know I definitely do it every time. Yeah, Train to Busan, number 2 on the list. I hope I just put y'all on game. The fuck? The next movie on the list is a bit wacky. Y'all are about to learn a lot about me from the next couple of movies that I put on this list. The next movie that I'm gonna recommend is Bones 2001. I feel like the cast alone makes this an instant watch. The legend Pam Grier. We have Vampire and the Love of My Life. Bianca Lawson. She has not aged. If I'm gonna put a picture up of her in this movie and a picture up of her right now, today, she's a vampire. There's no, like, you can't convince me otherwise. Also, another horror legend that is a part of this movie, and she's one that is slept on, Katharine Isabelle. But my real horror geeks know Katharine Isabelle is a OG in the horror genre, from Ginger Snaps to American Mary to Bones. She really get down in the horror genre. And last but not least, Snoop Dogg. Okay, and I know I know Snoop Dogg is not in the best light right now because he definitely was doing some Trumpy stuff and making some homophobic comments. But this was back in 2001, so I'm gonna take the 2001 version of Snoop Dogg when I didn't know all of that shit. We don't deal with that mega mess. We don't do that. We don't respect the office over here. The fuck? This film draws inspiration from the blaxploitation era of filmmaking, obviously with the inclusion of Pam Grier, a blaxploitation legend, and a lot of the themes and plot devices used are very reminiscent of that time. The plot of this movie follows a young man named Patrick Pete who purchases the haunted house of Jimmy Bones, played by Snoop Dogg, who was a neighborhood legend. He was kind of like, was he a pimp? I don't want to say he was a pimp, but he was kind of like a guy. He would go around taking people's bets and gambling for them and stuff like that, and he would look out for the kids in the community. And Patrick bought his home in hopes of turning his home into a club of sorts, like a new hot spot in town. This film is directed by Ernest Dickerson, who is known for being an amazing cinematographer, but also he is the director of Juice, starring Tupac and Omar Epps, which in my opinion is also a horror film. If you've seen Juice, it is scary. Tupac did his thing. He was very menacing. The film doesn't have the best rating on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, but I personally don't go by that here. I go by how a movie made me feel when I watched it. It doesn't matter. A movie could be like extremely technically sound and be boring as a bag of rocks, or it could be the worst technical movie I've ever seen in my life and I still have a good time watching it. And I want to say that Bones is somewhere in the middle. It has a great mix of CGI and practical effects. Ernest Dickerson was really keen on getting practical effects, and they really shine through in this movie and give it character. I do love the characterization of Jimmy Bones and his morals, I guess he had, so to speak. But you'll learn more about that when you watch the movie. I don't want to spoil anything. In recent years, this film has gained a cult following, and it is very apparent why, and I hope to add you onto that as well. Yeah, let's move on to the next film. Next on the list is Bride of Chucky 1998. First of all I have to say is one name: Jennifer Tilly. I love Jennifer Tilly. Like, do I have to say anything else? I feel like in recent years the internet has breathed new life into this movie, as this movie did to the Chucky franchise back in the 90s, as it's its fourth installment in the Chucky series. Fun fact, it's the first film to actually say Chucky's name in the title. All of the other ones beforehand were Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. Bride of Chucky takes the focus off of the children that Chucky would terrorize, and it puts its focus more on Chucky and his relationship with his crazy long lost lover, played by Jennifer Tilly, Tiffany. Honestly, Jennifer Tilly steals the entire film in my opinion. I think that if there was any other actress playing Tiffany in this franchise, in this movie, it would not hit the same way that it does. Honestly, she steals the show. She basically made the role. In human and doll form, Jennifer Tilly does an amazing job. Her and Brad Dourif, who plays Chucky, have great chemistry in the movie. Their comedic timing is great. It was not well received when it first came out, but like I said, in recent years it has built a cult following. because why not? I really fuck with it, and I think if you haven't seen it, you should. It's camp, it's crazy, it's fun, it's a little gross at times, and it's a little corny, but that's the charm of the movie. I fuck with it. I fuck with Don Mancini, fuck with Brad Dourif, I fuck with Jennifer Tilly. If you have not seen Bride of Chucky, watch it. That was recommendation number, damn, I'm already on number 4, period. Last but certainly not least, on the movie section of this video, Love and Basketball. No, I'm just playing. If you know, you know, Love and Basketball is a horror film. My actual last recommendation is Trick or Treat 2007. Trick or Treat is fun, it is entertaining, and it is short, coming in at under 90 minutes. 82 minutes. We love to hear it. Get me in and out. This anthology grabs your attention and brings you into 4 intertwining stories about the consequences of breaking sacred Halloween traditions, like tearing down your decorations before midnight, or blowing out the candles in your jack-o'-lantern, or taking too much candy out of a bucket when someone says to only grab one. Nigga, only grab one. With a cast full of familiar faces, it does a great job at introducing each character and each story in a way that keeps you guessing where the story is going without confusing you with all of the moving parts that are involved in each story and how they connect. This is definitely my most like themed movie, like Halloween-y kind of movie, because it takes place on Halloween and it is a very Halloween themed movie. But that is the end for the movie portion. We're gonna move on to TV shows. So for horror TV recommendations, I was only gonna do one. I had maybe a few in my head, but I didn't want to go with the basic like American Horror Story. I feel like that's very obvious. What did make the list though is The Haunting of Hill House 2018. I love this show down. There was a period in time where Mike Flanagan was dropping banger after banger, straight heat. He was typing away. He was straight heat. And Netflix really locked in with him with The Haunting of Hill House. From Oculus in 2013 to Hush in 2016, it just seemed like Mike Flanagan could not do any wrong. And I feel like The Haunting of Hill House is his magnum opus. He's done a lot of great stuff after, but none of them hit quite like The Haunting of Hill House, if you ask me. Hush is underrated, but that's a whole nother story for another day. Those movies allowed Flanagan to establish his name in the horror genre, but I feel like he really stamped his name in the Horror Hall of Fame with The Haunting of Hill House. And I'm not being dramatic when I say this. It is probably one of the best shows you're gonna watch. Flanagan was finding his groove in the horror genre, and in 2018, he solidified himself as a horror legend with his reimagining of the Shirley Jackson novel, The Haunting of Hill House. This limited series follows the Crane family, mainly the 4 Crane siblings, as they are forced to confront what truly happened all that time ago back in Hill House. This series bounces back and forth through time as each family member tries to make sense of what they experienced or what they may have not experienced. With a stellar performance from Victoria Pedretti of You fame, she plays Love Quinn on You. This 10-episode supernatural tale about the effects of family trauma will have you looking over your shoulder at times and grabbing for tissues. I did cry a few times in the series with all of the twists and the turns and the revelations that are made. At its core, it is a story about family trauma, grief, reckoning with your past, coming to terms with the things that you can't change, and loving your family through their hard times. I do love a story about a family just trying to make it work, because at the end of the day, that's what we all trying to do. It is spooky. You will have to go back, rewind, and be like, what was that? And I'm a nerd about it, so I probably know almost everything about the series. And I hope that you become obsessed with it and we can talk. We can talk down in the comments, because y'all have to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. I'm new here. Please be nice. I need to boost my name in the algorithm so more people could see this beautiful face. Leave a comment down below about any of the pieces of media that we talk about in this video, if you've seen it, if you haven't, or if you have something that you would like for me to talk about, or a film or TV show that you would like for me to talk about. Leave that down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for your support, and we're gonna move on to the next TV show. Okay, so I originally only wanted to do one TV show, but I had just rewatched the one that I'm about to talk about right now, and after a lot of consideration, I decided to add it on to this list. And that TV show is True Blood 2008. I put True Blood on this list because like I said, I just recently rewatched it and I forgot how good how entertaining it actually is. I definitely finished the whole season in a day. Like I was literally just watching it. I was watching it at work. I was watching it at home. I was like, ooh. And you probably should not watch True Blood at work. What the fuck? But I did. With a whopping 7 seasons with 10 to 12 episodes each season. Look, I know that's a lot, but it'll be worth it. It'll be all worth it. Maybe not season 7 though. I will say the first 4 seasons. I will say the first 4 seasons of True Blood are the best. After, we all know how TV shows are, like towards the middle of their run, they start to fall off towards the end, but you know, they first season be up here and then the rest of the season. It takes place in Bon Ton, Louisiana, where in this universe, vampires have recently been integrated into human society and they're learning how to coexist with one another. And y'all, they they got slurs for the vampires. They call them fangers. And they also have derogatory terms for people who decide to date or have sexual relations with vampires. They call them fangbangers. If there is somewhere out there that sells merch that says fangbanger on it, I would love to have one. That's the universe that the TV show is set in. It follows the clairvoyant Sookie Stackhouse as she navigates her small town of Bon Ton after she strikes up a romance with Merlotte's first vampire, Bill Compton. I just want to say I was never team Bill Compton. I was always team Eric Northman and team Lafayette. I love Lafayette down. He was the heart of the show. He ate and stole every scene that he was in, period. But I'm tired of the vampire plots where you're trying to make me, a lesbian, believe that Sookie was ever picking Bill over Eric. There was never a universe where she was picking Bill over Eric. This is not a perfect show by any means, but I will say for it to be a show from the mid to late 2000s, it definitely had more progressive outlook, or at least started a more progressive conversation on themes of race, sexuality, and acceptance. I hate that most shows have to be like these fantastical ass stories for people to understand that racism is wrong, and generalizing a whole race of beings just because you have preconceived notions about them is not okay, I guess. It tried to tackle those things with the vampires, but it definitely washed over or just kind of like brushed over the fact that Bill Compton was a Confederate soldier before he died. Huh? And you want me to root for him? No. I do enjoy True Blood and it is a long show, but if you watch at least the first 3 seasons, 3 or 4, you're gonna have a good time. After that, totally up to you. Those are my recommendations for TV shows. And now we're gonna move on to my next category, which is animes. When I was making this list, I was debating on if I wanted to put a series for anime or a movie, and I decided on a movie because I gave you TV shows to watch. So I didn't want to give more TV shows. I wanted to give a film that I truly love, and this film is an inspiration for a lot of American films. The film that I decided to add onto this list is Perfect Blue 1997. Perfect Blue is a film that has inspired films like Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream. If you haven't seen either one of those movies, brace yourself, but watch them. Still watch them, but you are going to have to really, get this together before and after watching. And if you have seen those films, if this is the inspiration for those films, you already know you in for a ride. From the mind of the legendary Satoshi Kon, this mind-bending tale about a J-pop star named Junko who is transitioning from being a singer to an actress will have you gagged by the end, bitch. I can't even go into the plot really without spoiling things. To describe what the movie is like without speaking much on the plot, it's kind of like you get on that like one real fast crazy ass roller coaster that just whip you around and you like low-key black out on it, but once you get off you trying to remember what happened, but somehow you still feel good, like you enjoyed yourself and you want to do it again. I would say that's what this movie is like. But yeah, the themes of this film are very relevant to the parasocial media landscape that we are currently in today. A creepy movie, it's violent, and it could be a bit gross at times, but it is definitely a 10 out of 10 in my book, and I recommend everybody watch it. Are there any dubs of it? I don't know. I watched the sub version in Japanese. I just read subtitles. Guys, we got to get the literacy rate up. Do not pass on a good movie because it's not in English. Train to Busan is in Korean. So go ahead, get over that, read a little faster, go back and rewind. It's okay. We all doing the best we can, okay? But yeah, that's the only anime that I have recommended. So we're gonna move on. Okay, so I didn't want to just do digital media for this video. I wanted to recommend something tangible, like a book, but it is still visually appealing. It's a comic book series. My comic book recommendation and my last recommendation for the video, Something is Killing the Children. 2019 to right now, it's still releasing issues to this day, but it came out back in 2019. I know that the name is a little abrasive to say the least, but that's kind of the point of the whole story. This comic follows Erica Slaughter of the House of Slaughter, which is a group of monster hunters that is a part of an order called the Order of Saint George. Okay, you following? The story follows her as she follows traces of these monsters. The gag is with these monsters is that aside from people that are a part of the order, the only people that can see these monsters are children. That makes the children vulnerable, and a lot of children do get killed by these monsters. I know it is abrasive. It is crazy, but it is very, very well written. The story is captivating. It keeps you wondering. The order is so mysterious. It makes you want to know more about them. I remember reading it back in, I want to say 2022 or 2023. I came on a little late. I think the first 4 issues were out, 4 or 5, and I read them back to back. I have them somewhere. I'm gonna have to find them. I remember reading and being like, wow, these monsters are literally like manifestations of the children's trauma. These monsters are summoned by big groups or like big areas or hotspots for like trauma or strong emotions of children, and they feed off of those emotions to get stronger, and they then attack the children and their families. The first arc follows Erica as she goes to this town, and a lot of the kids have started to go missing, so that kind of raised her antennas like, hey, there may be a monster here, and she meets this kid and she works with the kid to find where the monsters are. The story is great. The art is great. I wanted to be Erica Slaughter for Halloween because it's a simple costume, tank top, some black pants, and the bandana. The bandana is sold out. I need to reread it and I need to catch up because I'm not all the way caught up. I think I have maybe the first 7 volumes. I said issues, I think earlier. I have the first 7 volumes of this story and I need to get back into reading it. Also, I learned that the comic, it's not even fully done, but it's already in talks of getting a Netflix adaptation. With that being said, go ahead and, buy the first volume and, get to reading so we can all catch up by the time it, they put it in production and we'll all be caught up. It's kind of like, I hope it's kind of like how I felt when the Last of Us TV show came out, because I definitely played Last of Us 1 and Part 2. I was psyched for the show to come out, and then the second season happened. Thank you for watching this video and tuning in with me again. Thank you for all the support on my last video. I read Reddit stories and reacted to them, so go ahead and check out that first video if you haven't already. Thanks again to all my homies that supporting. I love ya. If you have any suggestions, like I say, leave it down in the comment section. If you want me to talk about any of the things that I did talk about in this video more in depth, leave that down in the comments below as well. And I hope you really enjoyed today's video. You have a good Halloween, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.